What's up, everybody? Thank you for taking a few minutes to watch this video. If you've seen any of my previous videos, then you may know by now, my name is Chris and I'm a college pastor in Texas. I mentioned in my last video where I was talking about some books that I'm reading, a book by a pastor from Long Hollow called Growing Up. It's by Robbie Gallaty. We spent a lot of time last year in our ministry focusing on developing discipleship. We felt like community was something that was thriving and students were connecting with each other, and sometimes there was some purpose missing in that. And we really want to connect students to authentic community, but we also want to compel them to grow in their relationship with Christ and then to engage them in the mission of the gospel. And one of the ways that we strive to do that is through discipleship. And so early in 2019, I read this book by Robbie Gallaty called Growing Up, and I'll put a link to where you can pick up a copy. It's really, really good, talking about why discipleship matters and how it doesn't have to be something scary. It's not just for professionals in ministry, but it is for everyone. It is what God has called us to do, is to be discipled and to help make disciples. And so as I'm reading this book, it was just super eye-opening on what it might look like for us in our college ministry to help disciple students and then teach them how they could also disciple their peers and disciple other students. And so Robbie Gallaty put out a book called Foundations, the New Testament. It's the F260 reading plan. It's a reading plan for busy believers. So if you do the math, if you were to read one chapter of the New Testament 5 days a week for an entire year, you would read the entire New Testament in 1 year. And I know a lot of times we feel like, man, there's no way that I can read the whole Bible or even read the whole New Testament, but it's really not that overwhelming when you break it down into bite-sized chunks. This became the basis of how we started our discipleship groups, the Foundation Reading Plan. And in this reading plan and in Robbie Gallaty's book, Growing Up, he teaches a journaling method. It is called the H.E.A.R journaling method. It stands for highlight, explain, apply, and respond, H-E-A.R. And the journaling is really simple, and I'll show that to you and what my journal looks like. Each page for me is one chapter of my reading in the New Testament. And so if I was reading, say, Luke chapter 23, I would read through it and then I would highlight. That's what the H stands for, is highlight. So I would highlight what sticks out to me, what really jumped off the page, where do I feel like God's speaking to me, where I can learn something or I can grow in this specific chapter today. I would write those verses down in my journal. That's highlighting. And then I would explain. So in my own words, in the context of what I'm reading, what's actually happening, like paint a picture, set the scene. So that's going to be the E, the explain. And then comes the apply. Okay, based on what I've read, based on how I have seen it in context in the story that's happening, how can I take that and apply it to my life? How is it relevant for me today? And then finally, R, response. Like, how are you going to respond to this? Maybe it's a prayer, maybe it's a challenge, maybe it's something that you want to try and do. It was just so transformational for me personally as I started putting this journaling method into practice. And one of the cool applications that I saw from it is when we would gather together. I had 4 guys that I was meeting with this semester. We would gather together and we would go over some of the verses or the chapters that stuck out to us. And so often we would be reading the exact same chapter, but we all would have gotten something different out of it and been challenged in a different way. And so I love the way that this takes the New Testament or the Bible in general. It doesn't just have to be the New Testament, but it takes scripture and it makes it applicable and personal to where I am and where I'm walking today. It doesn't change the truth of the scripture. It doesn't change what the Bible is saying, but it does open my eyes to how I can take that and apply it to my life today. And I think you should check it out. It's super awesome. You can find the reading plan, a link to a free copy of the reading plan below, or also if you want the full devotional for the F260 reading plan, you can find that in the description below as well. I would love for you to hit subscribe and continue to go on this journey with me as I continue to share things in my life that have been transformational and things that God has been using to grow me and stretch me and help me learn more about who I am and how to lead. So hit the red subscribe button below and let's keep going.